Hello, and welcome everyone to a new epic Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era video. In this one, I'm going to be overtaking something ambitious, and that is going to be tiering every single item in the game. Some of them I'm not going to be going into like too much detail. Every single interesting item, I'm going to be going over like what they do, and yeah. Let's just jump straight into it as we have a lot of artifacts to go over. Also, big thank you to Dezo here, who makes these on the tier maker, making my job a lot easier. Anyway, the tiering begins. So we're gonna be starting off with diplomatic gifts. So this is one of the two diplomatic items. Right now, diplomacy doesn't really function. Like, basically diplomacy requires way too many ifs in order to be good. So basically, if you have the leftover gold, if you happen to have to get the skill, if there's like, like good monsters for you to diplo on the map, and then if you get like the diplo set, then it's pretty decent, but basically that's like way too many ifs for like a reliable strategy. So I'm not a diplo believer. However, I understand that as the meta changes, it's probably at some point down the line gonna be like a really great artifact. Right now, with the way that the game is, which is, by the way, patch 10 in the early access, in case you're from the future. Next up is Amiltia's Law. Amiltia's Law is, the head items are really ridiculous in this game. All of them are really, really good. And I believe that Amiltia's Law is A tier. Honestly, in any other slot, this item would be absolutely S tier. However, head slot is the most competitive item slot in the game, almost. And because of that, it is A tier. It reduces the initiative of all the opposition by 2. 2 initiative on a single item is amazing. Never to be, not considered, in my opinion. Next up is Ancient Idol. Ancient Idol is an item that lets you cast 2 spells from the same school of magic. So if you have either any way to cast 2 spells in a single turn, whether that's going to be Murmurmancers, like the Two-Faced Mask or Thaumaturgy, you're going to be able to select the same school of magic again. Basically pretty useless. You're usually going to be finding someone to cast. If you have a cast, it's very niche, but on those very niche specific scenarios, it can be decent. So this is where we will put it. C tier. Next up is the Arcane Tome. So the Arcane Tome, in my opinion, is like one of the lesser tomes. Well, actually not exactly. It has basically like Clone, Black Hole, and Rewind Life. Rewind Life is very good for PvE, along letting you bleed way less. Then Clone is pretty good for like the endgame Finalka. And Black Hole is like a little bit of utility, here and there, somewhere. It's a pretty decent tome. In my opinion, it is an A tier item. Next up is we have like a common Knight's Vow set helmet for +2 defense. I think it's +2. And, it's pretty good. Like, it's a very common item that you're going to be able to get early, and it's almost never going to be useless. Eventually you're going to be replacing it, but until you replace it, you're going to be happy with your extra stats. So for its rarity, it's a pretty good one. Next up is we have the Armor of Wonder. The Armor of Wonder is be a part of the Angelic Alliance, so if you have the entire Angelic Alliance, then this item is worth a lot. On its own, it's +3 all stats, upgrading up to +3 all stats, and it's a legendary item, so it's usually going to be like very heavily guarded, and going to be like, like pretty tough to get. The Angelic Alliance pieces on their own, like, really don't impress me. They don't do anything, that much. They're, like, pretty good, but, like, having this thing, like, early on feels a little bit better than having this later on, unless you're completing the entire set. And also, the armor items are also pretty contested for other good things. So, here we go. Next up is the Automated Dwarven Shield Thingamajig. The thingamajig here is a pretty bad item. Basically, reducing magic damage taken is like a pretty poor way in order to like not get killed by magic. So these items end up being pretty poor because of that. It's also like not too big of a percentage. Yeah, I'm almost never impressed with this item. I would say it's like at least like higher C tier though. Next up is Backpack. So this is gonna be like pretty surprising, but the way that I see the game right now, the backpack is not really good. Like 10, upgrading to 15 boom points per day that you usually have to like manage, re-equip. Right now we don't have enough breathing room in order to like use these, you know, if like we have nothing else like on that slot, then it's fine. But the amount of boom points that you get doesn't really like feel that significant, and because of that, I would say that it's a beater item. The reason why I'm saying that it's like kind of like weak but putting it like decent tier is because every single movement speed giving thing in Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the game that this game is based off of, would be immediate S tier. However, they actually balanced it pretty well where, you know, it's like kind of nice to have, but like it's not essential and it's not like game breaking. So pretty good job. Well balanced item. Next up is the banner. So the banner goes into your cape slot or whatever, and you get +1 speed on all of the units. It is, whenever you're going to be playing like melee aggressive setups, it's one of the best items to put on that slot. And for that reason, it is going to be going into A tier. Feels really good to have, just like, you know, +1 speed, flat for everyone, really, really good. Next up is Beelzebub's helmet. So the Beelzebub's helmet is +12 power, upgrading to knowledge, upgrading to 16, and it's you know, it's a fine item. It will basically solve any knowledge issues that you have if you get it like early. Later on, it's not really that impressive because you don't really need that much mana. So later on, it's gonna be just there for completing the Beelzebub set, which is also like a pretty good set, but not like really something game-breaking on its own. It's an okay item, and I do believe it's like more impactful than +2 wall, because it like literally solves like quite a few issues. So in my opinion, low A tier. And next up is we have the first of the S tier items, the bone boots. They can immediately go there. So so in Olden Era, power is the best stat. Okay, just kind of how it is. You can transform power into like might stats, you can cast like ridiculous spells, you know, like it helps you out with everything, and power always feels like pretty meaningful. And Bone Boots is the best power artifact. It gives you 4 upgrading up to 6 flat power, and then it gives you a percentage power on top of that, so it like boosts your power gain. And that is really, really good. It's also part of the Shadow of Death set, which is one of the best sets in the game. And it's also, for all of this power and all of the things that this item does, it's not even a legendary. So you can find it in your biome, just like a random epic item. You can just like pick it up and be like so much more powerful. Amazing item. Always such a pleasure to find it on the map. Then the boots here are going to be going straight next to the backpack. They are also, like I said, whenever you get the set, you're going to be like removing terrain penalties. Usually by the time that you get the set, you already have like a way to deal with the terrain penalties, so the set is not really that significant. If you have like extra moon points or don't have anything in that slot, they're kind of cozy, but otherwise, meh. Now we have these 4 items. So these 4 items they give like +1 to a certain stat, and then you can upgrade them infinitely, but the upgrades are getting more expensive. So the good part is that you can get some stats on the miscellaneous slots. The bad part is that it's not really a meaningful amount. These items always feel bad in my opinion. I've never seen anyone use it, anyone get like that much use of it. However, they're not useless, so C tier. Yeah. Next up is we have the Knuckles that reduce the counterattack damage that you take. It's a pretty weird one. Nobody usually like plays around counterattacks in like such a way. Maybe it's like, I mean, if you're really struggling with counterattacks, there's like spells, a multitude of spells that you can cast in order to take away the retaliations. You could also go Confusing Strike in order to take away the retaliations from combat. So basically, an epic item that just makes you take less counterattack damage is like pretty pathetic. Because in Olden Era right now, everyone's one-shotting everything, and if you're not doing that, then, you know, you're probably the one getting one-shot, unfortunately. So I would say that this item is kind of a failure. It doesn't do anything in the current one-shot meta. F tier. Next up is the Swift Strike Remover Buckler. So this item is actually pretty decent for Minotaur or Fawn Warrior in the Repulse Mastery gameplay. It just makes you be able to do that certain thing against more creatures. So it's not useless, it's kind of okay. You're usually not gonna be using it in PvP, but yeah, it's an okay little thing. Next up is Caduceus! Oh my god! The god item. What an item. So Caduceus, what it says is that it's gonna be giving you 6 when upgraded 12 mana that you just get forever, not temporary mana, just like mana that you literally recover whenever you heroic strike. When you get this item, mana becomes like no longer an issue. Every single fight you can just go into, even if it's like a freebie fight, like, you know, whatever, and you can just use some heroic strikes. And you're just gonna be getting your mana back. So you can infinitely sustain your mana throughout the turn. Not even end of turn, just like during the turn, infinite mana. Like you can have 2 knowledge and you need to cast like 2 second winds, like 13 mana each. And then you also need to like maybe cast a dimension door, and you also need some mana for the fights. On 2 knowledge, 20 max mana, you can fit all of that in with a Caduceus. It's ridiculous. I was playing like some combat Dion on 2 knowledge in like the late game almost, and I needed to do so much, and Caduceus like just activates all of it. It's an amazing item, also part of a really strong set as well. Cannot be understated how amazing this thing is, and its rarity is uncommon, which is the wild part. It's like very easy to get. I mean, in terms of like just difficulty, whether you're gonna find it or not is an entirely different question. So next up is the Sash for the Angelic Alliance. I would say that it's going alongside the armor. It's honestly a little bit better because it's in a less contested slot than the armor one there. Actually, I will put it low A tier because this feels like free stats. Like this one feels like you're like wasting some opportunity in order to get these stats. This feels way more like free stats most of the time because there's not usually much better things that you can put into that slot. So for that reason, a little bit higher. Next up is Chainlink. Chainlink is a pretty hard one to reign. What it does is it removes tier 1 and tier 2 spells out of the equation in the fight. Literally you cannot cast any tier 1 or tier 2 spell, which is a big problem because one of the main counters to like big buffs or big debuffs is Ween and Inner Line, and this item disables both of those spells. So the gameplay feels really weird, and it's also like really good for enabling some sort of like abuses. Like for example, you can Arena Touch plus Reality Distortion a certain stack, and then that stack will be basically immortal because, you know, like you can't actually damage it. The way that you would handle that situation is you would just cast Swain, but if you make that setup with a chain link, then suddenly you're immortal. So this is an Exodia enabler, and sometimes a really, really good art team. But I kind of hate it existing. I hate its guts and everything. I'm gonna be not giving it higher than A tier because it is situational. Even if it's sometimes game winning, it is still like very situational. So I'm putting it here. Next up is the... I think this is part of the Knight's Vow, or is it like just the whatever chest piece? I think it's just the whatever chest piece. So it just gives like +2 defense on the chest slot. It's going next to the trusty helmet. Nice artifact to have early on. It just feels nice to have stats on the slot. And this is like the earliest stats that you're going to be getting, you know, pretty often. Next up is the Chitinous Shield. So +12, up to +16 defense and -4 attack though. Getting like a bunch of defense feels really, really good. You can tank things, your stat line looks quite a bit more focused, quite a bit better. I would say it's actually better than the Beelzebub's helmet, and it's just like a pretty nice item to have, but only like slightly better. By the way, like this. Yeah, I like that better. Next up is the Clenching Ring. I don't exactly know what it does. It's something with duration. Maybe like debuff +1 duration or something. Anyway, I don't really care about it, and nobody else does either. I think it's part of the Shaman Soul set. In that regard, it's probably going to be like relevant at some point in the game when the set becomes a little bit more popular, but for now people are not really going for the Shamans set. So yeah, there we go. Now this item, so this item, when upgraded, it will make you pierce 60% of resistances. So the opponent's like taking items. So, you know, like, let's say you're playing Dragon Geddon. The opponent like saw in Exodus Fight 1 that you're playing Dragon. So he's okay. He's expecting the Armageddon. So so he's gonna be taking resistance. He's gonna be taking, you know, like this thing for like even more damage reduction. He gets up to like 60% damage reduction. And then you reduce that 60% by 60% by just having one uncommon item. It just basically like disables your resistance. This is what it feels like this item does. It's ridiculously powerful, especially for its rarity. However, you only use it or care about it whenever you're playing like super heavy magic damage strategies, so it's like a little bit too specific. I think it's going next to the chain link. It's really good though. Whenever it's good, it's like the best. Ooh, now we have an S tier item again. So this item gives you, makes the opponent's power reduced by 20% and up to 30% when upgraded. So if you equip the two of these, the opponent's gonna be losing 60% of their power. Ridiculous. The opponent has like 100 power, and he goes into the fight, and now he has 40 power. It's like a world of a difference. This item is very impressive. Alright, as I said, power is like the best stat right now, so you're interfering like the best stat consistently and by a lot. This item is really, really good. Next up is the Dragon Crown. +4, I mean, yeah, +4 knowledge, +4 power, just like in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. I would say this is like an okay item. I mean, for a legendary, it feels like a little bit underwhelming. Many of the items like solve problems better, do things more, or combine into like a better, more reliable set. I don't really care for this item too much. Next up is the +4 knowledge crown. Now this one is actually better than, I would say, well, it's kind of like alongside here. Like, it gives you the same amount of knowledge as the Dragon Crown, but it's like far more available as it's like a way less rarity item. So basically, it feels like these items are very oftentimes equivalent outside of PvP, but usually don't take either one into PvP. And you're just using it for knowledge. And, you know, having like a far more available item for knowledge is kind of better than just having that extra power. Availability is rather key. Next up is we have the Dark Hatchet. So the Dark Hatchet is going to be going into S tier. Base attack and plus percentage attack, and also combines into the best set. And all of that on, you know, like not even a legendary item, but rather just an epic item. Amazing. Every single Shadow of Death piece is going to be S tier, by the way. Next up is Daylight Tome. So Daylight Tome is also like an amazing item. It's gonna be going into, I would say that a little bit below the Arcane Tome, because Arcane Tome is almost always good. Daylight Tome can be at its peak better, but it does need like for you to like be playing into Daylight quite a bit more, because Daylight without levels just completely sucks. Doesn't really do anything. So there it goes. Next up is the Deck of Spells. The Deck of Spells gives you access to all the level 1 spells. It's pretty bad. It's just like a sub-skill of Thaumaturgy. Very, very rarely do I find this item to be something that I'm looking for. It's not completely garbage, but it's pretty damn bad. Next up is we have the Beelzebub Sword, we'll call it. This item gives you +12 attack and -4 defense. It's gonna be going alongside its counterparts. It's like pretty good. The stats feel like very meaningful. The set is like pretty easy to get and not bad. So, you know, pretty decent items. This thing, I don't know what it is. I'm sorry to the template crew, to the tier maker, but yeah, I'm just not aware. Diplomatic Gifts is gonna go alongside here with a strong notion of this will not last. This will definitely change, and at some point it's gonna be S tier, but for now it's F tier. It's feast or famine for these ones. So yeah, now we have a bunch of Dragon Arties. So the 4/4, the 4 power, I mean 4 attack for defense, just piece. This one feels pretty great. It's like a very huge boost in might. Yeah, I mean it's an okay RT. It's like B tier. It feels okay. It doesn't really do that much. Now we have the free shield. So this one is an epic item, so you're gaining almost as much items as this legendary, but you're gaining it for like way less of a rarity of item, making it a little bit better than the chest piece, in my opinion. And next up is we have the, next up we have the Dragon Mantle, or something along those lines. This one is really good. Like, you get this one simple, uncommon artifact, and suddenly your casting stats are basically, like, set for, like, at least, like, a little while. You can also even upgrade it up to free from 2-2. So this one, for knowledge and power, feels really good. I would say that this is, like, a solid A-tier item. It always feels, like, so good to have in your inventory, or to just find it somewhere. Now Greaves, a common item that when upgraded gives you 2-2 stats. So yeah, baseline this is 1 power, 1 knowledge, but you can upgrade it for like a very minuscule amount of dust at the beginning of the game, and then it doubles its effect. And that upgrade is what makes it really good. I would say this is also an A-tier item. Very solid, very good. Actually, I would put it a little bit above the mantle even, because the upgrade is cheaper and it's more accessible than the other one. Well, no. Actually, this item I think just gets replaced a little bit too easily and gets, yeah, basically gets outscaled like a little bit too easy. So, the next item is the Drums of War. The Drums of War is going straight into S tier. Whenever you're going to be playing any sort of like recruitment style, that's going to be going for a bunch of low tier creatures, or even if you're going for summons, or if you're going for larva. Basically, if you have like any unit which stack sizes number is high, then Drums becomes like the best item for scaling the damage. Because like attack and defense skill in this game are like a little bit of a joke compared to like Heroes 3. The best way to scale your damage is by scaling the damn damage, and that is exactly what Drums does. This item is one of the most suppressive items in the game, and you can even stack it up. So like, let's say the Schism tier 1 deals 3 damage flat. I mean, it does. It deals 3 to 3 damage. You can equip 2 Drums of War, upgrade both of them, suddenly, instead of 3 damage, your shoes are now dealing 7 damage flat. But by the way, by shoes I mean Reshafts? Probably. Anyway, your Schism tier 1s will suddenly be dealing over twice the damage they otherwise would. Absolutely insane, but you can do with like some drums and a lot of low tier units. Oh yeah. So next is the Knight's Vow chess piece for, I believe, like 3 or 4 defense, and yeah, it goes into the Knight's Vow. The Knight's Vow arties are pretty bad in terms of like completing the set, but they are like pretty decent for giving like some basic stats. So it's going alongside the other basic stat givers. Here we go. Now we have the other, so power reducing ring. So it's just like this item, except quite a bit worse. It only reduces 10% base and 15% when upgraded. So it's quite a bit worse, but still pretty decent if you don't have anything else to fill up your rings with. Next up is the Endless Bag. One resource, even if it's curated for your faction, for like an entire item, is really too weak. This is like a Heroes 3 eco tier item in terms of power, and those are really bad. Actually, I would say this is F tier. The next item is Fallen Angel Wings? I don't know what they're called, but they look pretty demonic. Anyway, wings. S tier item. They completely remove any terrain penalty. You can go over. This is like the best mobility item in the game, and if you can get it before, you know, like you research into Shadowfly, you're gonna be able to like tremendously boost your control over the map. How much you move, how much you can do. You can, you know, like start going for Dimension Doors sooner. Yeah, this item is absolutely amazing. Should probably go into like the top of S tier. Maybe like this. Yeah. Dude, I just adore bone boots. Don't mind me. The next item is Fancy Mask. So the normal effect of this item is like pretty garbage. It gives you like a few focus points. Not focus charges, focus points. So it gives you like a fraction of a focus charge. Pretty garbage, but it's a common item. So sometimes you get it and you have it. Where this item really shines is that it combines into the set Inner Flame or Inner Song. I never get it right. And that set can be ridiculous, but only if you're playing like a very, very specific builds. So that's the only reason why it will dodge F tier, because it can combine into the set that sometimes wins the game. Next up is Find Wand. So Find Wand is an uncommon art team, so once again, pretty easy to access, and it gives you +1 to all spell levels. I cannot overstate how much I love all spell levels, by the way. And having an item that just provides it like so easily is absolutely fantastic and amazing and beautiful. In my opinion, it is an S tier item. The next one is Fish to the Face. Fish to the Face is just +1 attack, and it's also part of Papa's Glory. It's not the worst. It fills in the slot, giving you like a little bit of stats in some early games, and if you can complete a few sets of Pauper's Glory, then, you know, then that's great. And that's gonna be like the case for all of the Pauper's items, by the way. So I can see the coin here for +1 luck, all the same. I'm rating, by the way, yeah, it's pretty late to say this, but I'm rating for like 1 hero. So that's why the flag is gonna go into F tier, because in my games it doesn't do anything. Next up is the Flask of Oblivion. There's only one purpose for this item, and that is to complete the Anesthesia set. The Anesthesia set is the Olden era's Elixir of Life. And this Elixir of Life is really, really good. It not only gives you the 25% HP, as you expect it to, it also gives you a regeneration that can restore units, and it's based on the entire stack's percentage. It's really good for that reason. However, you will not equip it apart. I mean, yeah, usually you're not going to be equipping it outside of Anesthesia, since it doesn't really do much apart from that. So, I don't know. I'll put it high B tier, because this item is just like so important to have, even if it doesn't do anything on its own. Next is Growth. So whenever you're going to be playing, well, yeah, Growth is like a pretty well-rounded item. It gives -1 speed to all the opponents, which makes you just have like more time to prepare. It makes like some units that are connecting in a single turn whenever you enter the battle actually connect in not a single turn anymore, because you don't no longer have the speed. So it changes the dynamics of many fights, and is like a pretty cozy item to have if you can get it early. The problem is that it's an epic item, so you're not really oftentimes going to be having it early. So usually you like miss the timing of when it's good. So I kind of like Growth, so I will not put it less than B tier in my opinion. Now the Golden Goose Egg, F, don't gamble. Now we have the gold items. So this one I usually like find in wagons, or yeah, like whatever random objectives that I go into, I sometimes like get this item and it's like some gold income. It's fine. It also combines into Milus's Curse, which is a lot of income, but in my experience I haven't really been able to like get it. But I also haven't tried that much. And also income is like pretty easy to get in other ways anyway in Olden era. I would say that these items are okay placeholders. Now we have the Head Torch, +2 scouting on a common item. Honestly, I really like whenever I have this. I find this item in like the most like uncommon places, like, you know, like wagon, like I dig up a bird nest and suddenly I have like a head torch all of a sudden, and then I can see like way further. It's pretty good. Next up is Heartbeat. So Heartbeat is actually going to be rising above the rest of the Beelzebub's items into low S tier. One, because it combines amazingly with Bone Boots to give you the best stat in the game, which is going to be power. You have like these two items, you're probably already immediately breaking like 30 power, even on a warrior, like really early. It's insane what these two items can do. And I don't think that anything is like pretty close to the setup. So yeah. Next up is we have the Helm of Heavenly Enlightenment. This item is even worse than the other Angelic Alliance pieces. The reason is pretty simple. It is the same effect as the other Angelic Alliance pieces, but it is within the most contested item slot. So in my opinion, it is low B tier. Yes. Now we have the relics. So this is the battle magic, wisdom, logistics. Oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to get all of these right, but I can definitely tell which ones are good. So this is actually an S tier item because it gives battle magic. And battle magic is one of the strongest sigils to have activated in the late game because battle magic is just straight up going to be giving you like so many more stats in the Finalka that usually most of the mages kind of just want to like fill in on the battle magic using their relic, and this is exactly the item that gets you to do so. Now we have this monstrosity. This one gives like tactics, leadership, insight, and whatever else other thing that doesn't matter, I'm sure. It's kind of okay because leadership and tactics somehow go together. For example, you're going to be playing Devere, and then you have like tactics on the Devere because you're playing Monitors. I mean, this one is like a placeholder of a relic. I don't think it's almost ever like the best thing that you can have, but you're kind of okay with holding on to it sometimes. I would say that it is a low A tier item. Now we have the Maria, I believe. So this is like luck, daylight, and like daylight and economy. I have never, this is the only of the sigils that I never unironically used in a game of Olden Era so far, and I haven't really like seen anyone else squeeze out like much value from this thing either. If you're gonna be playing a luck-based setup, then I guess it probably would be good, but I haven't seen it yet, and I need to see it to believe it. It's gonna go into low B tier, and yeah. Then we have this one. So this one is for like Battlecraft, Thaumaturgy, Scouting, and something else. Anyway, usually take it for either Thaumaturgy or Battlecraft, and those are actually like pretty good to fill up on. Battlecraft feels very good. I would say that this item is high A tier. Though honestly, I can see like many situations where it's actually better than this one. Because on mages, you very often times actually do have Battlecraft and Thaumaturgy at the same time. But like the Thaumaturgy ends up just giving you like 2 stats as like the only thing that you get from activating it, realistically. So yeah, in my opinion, high A tier. Next up is Raw. So Raw will activate all of these sub-skills for your starting faction ability. So it's gonna be like really dependent on your faction whether this is good or not. However, in general, the rule is that this one is amazing. Necromancers really want to get that. You know, Schism really wants this. Dungeon is okay with it. Temple is okay with it. Well, Temple doesn't really want to, let's be real. So yeah. Raw feels amazing to have most of the time, but not as amazing as the Sigil of the Second Man, Combat, Avatar, and Offense. What a simple yet beautiful, elegant relic. If you're playing like a combat sort of dude and you get this, you kind of just win the game. It's really hard to compete. It's infinity tempo, it's so much strength, it is absolutely insane. And then if you're playing Avatar, you also really want this. I mean, it usually is the best relic in most cases. It is, yeah, the best out of the sigils. I keep calling them sigils, sometimes relics. Hopefully it's like understandable enough. I'm sorry about that. So next up is the Sorcery, Nightshade, and Resistance one. In my experience, I actually like use this surprisingly often because Resistance, Nightshade, and Sorcery are all like pretty good late game skills, and oftentimes you can actually have like 2 of them fully activated and they will be doing useful things. I would say that this actually, well, because it's like more specific, I will put it lower than Wrath. But if you're playing those skills, then it's definitely higher than Wrath. Well, yeah, obviously, but I'm saying that the more Wrath is higher in the tier list just because it's active for like every situation, you know, like there's almost no situation where Roth can't fit in. But of course this one, despite having like higher peaks, is still like way more specific. And now we have the last sigil. This is the defense and recruitment one. There's another skill in there. Wait, primal magic, yeah. So the primal doesn't matter, we don't care about it. But if you're playing recruitment, getting this is like amazing. It's so good for recruitment. And the defense is also like a very nice bonus. This is an amazing, amazing item. And if you're playing recruitment, any type, then you always want it. I'm sorry, that's Luna on the keyboard. SDR. Now we have this cloak, an epic armor item that gives you 6 knowledge. Sometimes it's like decent, but you never equip it for late game. It's just there to solve your dumb warrior problems. So yeah, it's gonna go like low B tier. So now we have the Keeper's Amulet and the Keeper's Ring. And they both give +2 defense, and when you get both of them, you get 4 extra defense. These items feel pretty good. They're some of the best early stats, and if you can get them together, then suddenly you're getting like double-digit stats off of like nothing. At least it feels like. And because of this, I will put them at the very least like mid to high B tier. Now we have the spear. The spear is like a pretty simple item for like a few attack points. It's going alongside the other cozy, cool stat items. The next item is Excalibur. So Excalibur most of the time is the item that you will find shiny over on the horizon, but you're gonna be like, ugh, another Excalibur. However, when it's good, it's really good. If you're playing like a combat type of hero, or if you get it like early enough, it can do ridiculous things. It will make your heroic strike skill up to 2. Kitty. It will make your heroic strike skill 2 extra, tier 7 or below units. So basically almost anything. And it also, if you have Caduceus, it will make your heroic strikes double. So you're gonna be basically like proccing everything twice. It is an amazing item. However, it's only if you're playing like somewhat combat. Otherwise, you don't even like really want it. Yeah, I will put it like A tier. Next is the Legion Boot. So the Legion Boot will boost your production in all towns by 50%. On the most popular template, Exodus, this item is completely broken. The best item in the game. It was heavily nerfed to not be like as readily accessible and available. It's now a market-only item, I believe. And yeah, it's amazing. It just like literally wins games. Of course, not for every format, but on the formats where it's good, it's just way too oppressive. It's insane. Next item is Lifeblood Fame. +2 HP. Very solid. Just like a really great item. It also upgrades into +3. On the current patch, it's even more broken because it gives your avatar HP. It won't for long, don't worry, that's getting removed finally. And of course, it's part of the Anesthesia. This is an item that you want in most of your games by the late game. It's not amazing on... I mean, yeah, it doesn't really do like that much on its own, especially for like a legendary tier item. But you definitely want 1, or maybe sometimes even 2 of these if you're playing like recruitment style, many low tier units type of game. And of course, it's like, you know, fills up on Anesthesia, which is really good. The next item is Knight in well, anyway, the cloak, the shooter cloak. It lets you shoot even if things are adjacent to you. I mean, it's a pretty okay effect, but if something is like next to your shooters, then you're probably like not having a good time anyway. The real benefit of this item is the fact that you get to complete Living Arrows as a set. Living Arrows is an amazing, super powerful set that gives you +1 initiative and double shot. Yeah, double shot. It literally doubles your shooter's damage. It's insane. So yeah, it's like a nice little utility effect from the actual cloak, and then it also like fills into like one of the best sets in the game, A tier. It's also like worth mentioning that the set is like really easy to complete because it's only 3 items. Now we have the Lion Shield. So the Lion Shield is going to be going alongside the Armor of Wonder. It just gives some stats, but it's like not really anything impressive. You only like really want this if you're completing the Angelic Alliance set. Now we have this bottle. Once again, I don't even really know what this bottle does. It's either one more duration for specific things or one less duration, like something like that, something that you don't really like care about. However, this item does matter. So there's a set in the game that makes all of the opponent's spells level 1. So it basically blocks out your opponent from casting any cool shit. And that's a really powerful effect, and it's comprised of good items in general already. And if you want to like get those good items on, but actually like complete the set, then this is the item that you want. So this is like Amelchia's Law. No, the Puppeteer set filler. And as such, it's going to be B tier. The item itself is trash, doesn't do anything. Just as a set filler, it's important enough to just get B tier. Now we have the Lion Ring. +1 initiative on a ring. It's an epic item, not even a legendary. Getting initiative is super important, super good. Whenever you have this, you are already happy that your ring slot is not wasted. It's filled up with something that you're proud of. It's just a solid A tier item. This one, once again, I don't really know. Maybe like some campaign stuff. Now we have the mana recovery item. The mana recovery can actually be like pretty decent, but honestly, it's niche. It's not too great. It's only for like warriors to be sustaining. Second wind, better. Now we have the magic slippers. The magic slippers are probably one of the best items in the game. I said it. I mean, no. It's the best common item in the game. Getting everything that you use mana for reduced by 3 mana when upgraded is insane. Your 13 mana second wind, well now it's actually 10 mana second wind. Your 6 mana lightning bolt, now it's half off 3 mana lightning bolt. If you especially combine it with some other mana reduction, flat mana reduction, for example like the Hive Law that you get like on tier 1, then suddenly you can be doing ridiculous things like 1 mana lightning bolts. It just like saves so much mana throughout the game, and can also like even enable like really cheap farming things. It lets you like second wind way easier. It just does so much for you, and all of that in a common item, insane. Now we have the mana recovery tiara. It's gonna go also here. This is the offhand sword. So it's kind of weird because it goes into the shield slot but gives you like some attack skill. It's just going alongside all of the cozy, normal stat giving items over here in the middle. Now we have the monster head. So the monster head is an S tier item as well. So monster head just is the spirit of oppression of Olden era. It just makes everyone's morale neutral. So your units will not be moraling at all anymore. And, like, you could be playing Aeos or something, where you're gonna be, like, having over 50% chance to morale, and you built your entire hero around that, and it's amazing, right? And suddenly, the opponent equips one uncommon item, and all of that is gone. The entire mechanical morale is gone. It's an insanely oppressive item, and can win you games, and yeah, makes you far more consistent. It's amazing. Next up is the sheet of paper. So this item is gonna be like pretty weird to rank. It gives you 40% extra ability damage, upgrading up to 60%. However, I have no idea what the abilities count as. Like what counts as an ability, what doesn't. Like does the fighting stances for dungeon, for example, don't count. The Beelzebub strike for Ravager, I'm not sure if that counts. So yeah, it's like super weird. Usually don't use this item if you're not going for specifically the set. I would say it's better than the Fancy Mask, probably, but like not by that much. Next up is the Mythical Scroll. So the Mythical Scroll is gonna be giving you a spell from the high global magic. So like Dimension Door to Beam, but most usually it's gonna be Pocket Dimension, it's gonna be completely garbage. Or like a level 1 Second Wind when you're already like at level 3 or 4. It's still like a very powerful thing, because if you can get it on Grow, you can actually use the power of the written word to upgrade it to level 4. Just today I played a game where I found the Dimension Door scroll, and then power of the written word made it like level 4. So like 131, before the second fight, it was already like double the D across the map, while also like having max fly as well. I mean, it can be really, really good, and you should check your Mythic Scrolls, if you can, without too much opportunity cost. They can be good, they can shortcut your path to getting control. Now we have Nightshade Tome. So Nightshade Tome for me feels like one of the better sets. Every single spell on the Nightshade Tome actually I think functions without even like having spell level. Some of them even function without having like that much power. Like whenever you cast like Naira's Kiss, you basically like delete a stack, even if it's like level 1. Getting like summons on your book is also like very, very strong. And of course you get Star Children from the Nightshade Tome. It's, for me, the best feeling tome in the game. So, S tier. Next up is the Ogre Quab. It's gonna go alongside all the normal stat-giving items. It's pretty good if you have nothing else to fill the slot. It's just gonna do a good job. Next up is the Omen Caller. I believe like -1 luck. I would remember it if it was -1 morale, but I don't think it is. It's like, it's a slot filler, but like a more poor one than most of the B tier. So I would say it's a C tier item. Now we have the orbs. Yeah, so the orbs will give you 1 level to a specific school of magic and -1 level to the opponent's same school of magic. So Daylight one is, well yeah, they're all gonna be like pretty much like the same-ish. And I would say that their place is in A tier. Maybe like a little bit high A tier, at least for like the Daylight one. The Nightshade one is like, I would say they're pretty equivalent. The Arcane one, in my opinion, almost never feels that good, so it's gonna be like in lower A tier. Then we have the Orb of Destruction. Oh wait, actually the Primordial Orb. The Primordial Orb, in my opinion, is also like the Arcane. It feels quite a bit less impactful. So these two orbs quite a bit better, these two orbs quite a bit worse. So now, we have the Orb of Destruction. This item just gives you +10 Heroic Strike damage. And it's pretty alright, because of the way that it scales. I'm not really sure how the Heroic Strike scales exactly, but +10 damage is actually ending up like quite a bit more damage out on the battlefield. For example, like the, like the subclass Swashbuckler for Knights is actually like a pretty good subclass. You deal an insane amount of damage with Swashbuckler. And it reads, gives your Heroic Strikes +60 base damage. So this is like 1/6 of being a Swashbuckler, and that's pretty good. That's pretty alright. If you're using Heroic Strikes, you kind of want 1 or 2 of these, if you can. B tier. Now we have the Orb of Inhibition. Once again, it's a tide-changing artifact. An artifact that will get you to be able to win against mages. So it disables all abilities and spells from being cast on turn 1. That 1 turn can be very, very crucial if, you don't really have that good casting, but you have like a better army. Being able to like connect without the opponent doing all sorts of BS is gonna be like so precious, so impactful. It is one of the most important items in the game for warriors. Now we have this thing. This one is, I think, +1 duration of like positive effects, and it goes into the shield slot. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's like completely garbage. Now we have the Plate Mail, another one of those feel good slot fillers that gives like a little bit of stats. Yeah. Okay, I'll just zoom out here a little bit so we can have things a little bit cleaner. Well, shall we? The next item is the Polestar. The Polestar makes all of your control spells cost no mana. If you're struggling with mana and you can get this item, then it's pretty excellent. But in pretty much every single other case, it's gonna be like pretty useless. I don't think it's a good item. It's way too niche, it is way too high rarity, and by the time that you get it, it's usually already obsolete. I would put it in C tier. However, it does have its use cases, okay? Yeah. Next up is the Primal Tome. So, the only good thing about the Primal Tome is that it gives you, yeah, some summons. And getting summons in a book is, like, pretty good. However, even despite this, I would say that it's probably, like, quite a bit the worst of all of the tomes. I almost never see myself, like, equipping it, using it that much. In only, like, niche specific scenarios do I even, like this item. So, yeah. Next up is the Dwarven Anti-Magic Belt. This one is going to be going alongside the other Dwarven Anti-Magic item. It just, yeah, basically reducing magic damage is not the way to go in order to avoid death to magic. And because of that, I don't really think it's a thing. Maybe we're going to be getting like some other some other ways for magic damage to like happen a lot in battles, and then suddenly these items will become big. But until they do, it's kind of meh. Now we have the Dragon Ring. The Dragon Ring is going to be going alongside the Dragon Greaves in A tier, because this common item just gives like +1 attack, +1 defense, right? However, you can upgrade it to double the stats at 2 tier. So usually this item is like so low value that it's not even guarded. You're just pathing through it, you pick it up, you upgrade it, and suddenly you have 2 extra stats. In the early game, that's very, very meaningful and feels very good to play with. I love this item. The next one is Quivering Quiver. So Quivering Quiver is backpack, miscellaneous slot item that just gives you some range damage. Again, the range damage is already like pretty good, but what's even better is the fact that you're going to be completing living arrows as the set. I would say it's an A tier item, so an item that you really want to find, and yeah, it's very impressive. I will also just like immediately list the Shroomwood Bow. This item is honestly an S tier item. It's the Golden Bow. It's worse than Golden Bow. I mean, it eliminates all the range penalty in the fight for all of your shooters. So it makes your shooters way more effective, deal an insane amount of damage. And it's also like both better and worse than the Golden Bow of your Automatic Frame. It is worse in the sense that it's in a way more contested item slot. It's in your, like main hand. However, it is better in the sense that it completes the Living Arrow set, which is, like what shooters always want anyway. This item, whenever you're playing shooters, is almost essential and really, really good. I'm kind of leaning maybe towards a high A tier, but honestly, I'll keep it low S tier. It probably deserves it. Next up is Rag, next to other proper items, +1 power, and completes the set. Rapier. So Rapier is a percentage bonus on your melee damage from your units, and it's also part of Duelist, so Prime, which is not like a good set, so that doesn't really matter. It's honestly a really great item. I would put it at the top of these like basic stat giving items, because it gives like a percentage modifier that can actually like last quite a bit in the game and still be relevant. Next up on our list is gonna be the Red Flame Tongue Sword. So it's gonna be going in A tier. It's one of the better stat giving items above these ones, because whenever you upgrade it, you get 2 extra stats. So once again, yeah, upgrading dragon items is something that you really want to do, and the ability to do so for quite a few extra stats is what's giving it that higher tier. Also, the set is more relevant than these ones as well. Now we have Ribcage. So Ribcage is going to be going to S tier, straight up. For an epic item, getting defense percentage, and completing one of the best and most available sets in the game, the Shadow of Death, insane. Really good. Yeah, wonderful item. It will go like here, in my opinion. Next up is the Ring of Life. So the Ring of Life should go exactly alongside the Flask of Oblivion. Once again, I don't even know what this item does. The only thing that it really realistically does is it completes anesthesia, which is the Elixir of Life. That's what it's meant for. And yeah, basically if you get this item, and this item together, you get 25% extra HP and loss of regeneration. That's what it's used for, and I don't even remember the the effect of the actual ring. Like +1 to some certain duration. Who knows, right? Yeah. So next up is we have another, mechanic negating item. This is the item that negates luck from happening. Basically the monster head, but for luck. Luck is not usually a mechanic that people are playing for, so this item sees like way less play than the monster head and is like not really relevant or sought after most of the time. However, if you know that the opponent is like relying on luck somewhat, then you can use this item to just completely take it away from him. I would say that it's a solid low A tier item. Now we have the Robe of Enlightenment. By the way, you have more Pauper's Glory here. Pauper's Glory is going into C tier. It just doesn't give enough stats, but you know, the set sometimes makes it kind of cute. Right. So the Robe of Enlightenment is the item that gives you all your free spells, which is like a pretty good effect. The only problem is that it's going into like a pretty contested item slot, so keeping it like equipped long term is not usually going to be like a thing that much. Their free spells also tend to be like a little bit more niche, so I don't usually like this item too much, but whenever I have it I also don't really mind it. It's a nice like slot filler until you get something better, B tier. Then we have like these runes. These runes give you access to all tier 2 spells. The better part about them is that they're going to miscellaneous slot, which makes them way easier to equip and have. For this reason, I will put it into... But like, tier 2 spells are generally weaker than the tier 3s. In my opinion, it's like low B tier. It's an okay item, but not one that I'm almost ever excited for. So yeah. The next one is gonna be the Sandals of the Saint. It's gonna be going alongside all the other Angelic Alliance pieces in B tier. If together, everything assembled, then they're really good. Otherwise, for a legendary item, they feel like they are not really doing enough. Now we have the Scholars Globe or whatever. Basically, yeah, the Scholars set. Individually, +2 knowledge from either one of these. Together, they would be giving you 4 more knowledge. Knowledge in the early game, I mean, yeah, this is an early game item, and whenever you get knowledge in the early phase, this feels really good. I would say these items are pretty impressive, and I will give them higher B tier than, for example, the Seeker set, because knowledge is like a stat that you almost like can never miss out on having, because you do need to cast those second winds, you do want to be casting spells, and, you know, these items enable it. The next item is the Epic Ring that increases the opponent's cooldowns by 1 turn. Absolute garbage. Why does this exist? Like, what? Cooldowns are a myth. Basically, either spells basically have no cooldown, and you're gonna be able to, like, just, you know, spam it. If it's like a specialty spell, or if you have like the Grove sub-skill to remove like cooldowns and you're gonna be spamming it. Otherwise, you're just using it once. And I feel like there's nothing really in the middle, realistically. So getting like +1 cooldown on the opponent's spells almost never feels impactful on the current one-shot, everyone one-shots everyone meta. Okay, now we have the last piece of the... Yeah, now we have the last piece of the Shadow of Death. It is of course going to S tier. I would say that it's actually better than these two, because knowledge is like a very important stat to get. And it's also like pretty quite a bit easier to equip compared to these two. So yeah, Shadow of Death, amazing. Knowledge and knowledge percentage, what more could you want? The next item is the list is the 7 Eyes. So 7 Eyes gives +1 spell level. And then +1 more whenever you upgrade it. So +2 to all spell levels. You have this one item, and your spellbook will feel so much better. All of your like normal buffs will become AoE buffs, your debuffs will become AoE debuffs, and like everything is gonna be so much better when you have 7 Eyes. It's an amazing feeling item, and one of the main reasons why all of the other helmets are going to be in way lower tiers, because you have to compare that helmet to this helmet. And this element very oftentimes wins. Yeah, 7 Eyes is going all the way up here. Next up is we have the 7 League Stamp. This is a merchant exclusive boost that gives you like a lot of moon points but costs like an exorbitant amount of money. I've almost never seen anyone purchase this item. It's pretty weird that it exists. It's kind of like kick weird item. I don't understand it. It's way too expensive. Next up is Chains. I don't think that's relevant to us. And yeah, next up is we have Shaman Staff. So Shaman Staff is an epic item that gives you 6 power, and you can upgrade it up to 9 power on a weapon slot. I mean, this is amazing. This is one of my favorite basic stat items. I feel like sometimes I'm considering equipping this over like some relics, because as I said, power is basically the most important and the best stat. So getting power on, you know, like your attack, your weapon slot can very oftentimes be powerful, and this gives you a lot of it. So yeah, an amazing item, the Shaman Staff. Next up is like another one of these mana recovery things. I don't really care for it. The Ogre Shield is gonna be going alongside the other Ogre items. They're just decent, like give like a little bit of stats. You also have the component where you can upgrade them infinitely, so they can, in theory, be like the best stat items in the game. But realistically, the dust cost is just way too great, and it's not really like a feasible way to play. Next up is the Wooden Shield. Plus 2 defense, very easily for a commonality. It's alright. It's alright. It's like here alongside these. This is the last piece of the inner song set. So I would say that this item outside of completing the set is absolutely useless. So very close to the fancy mask, but even worse because it's like, well, yeah, it almost does nothing, but if you can complete the set, then it could be potentially Exodia. Ooh, now we have this thing. So this thing is a legendary item, so you know, it better be good. Well, this one just increases the cooldown of the opponent's spells. On a head slot? Where 7 Eye exists? On a legendary item? Cooldown, brother? What do you mean? It's my least favorite item in the game. I guess its only use case would be completing the Shaman set, but like, nobody likes the Shaman set right now anyway. So this is the 6th finger, or whatever it's called, and this item feels great. It's minus luck and minus morale to the opposition. Very easy. Yeah, on a lower rarity item, I feel like it does a lot, and usually feels really great to have. This is an 8-tier item. Now we have the Belt of Milos. So this is going to be going alongside the other gold generating artists. There's like some room for these. Sometimes like having them feels alright, but even like when you do have them, I feel like it's like, okay. It doesn't feel that impactful. Doesn't really feel that great. The next item is Slivering Sash. So yeah, it's going to be going alongside this like dragon components. For a neckpick item, this gives like a lot of caster stats, and whenever you're going to be playing like some sort of like avatar setup, or if you're missing launch for second wins, this is the item that you usually find, and it's going to be like saving your game in terms of, you know, getting to cast spells. Yeah. The next item is the Soul Caller's Ring. Another tremendously powerful ring. I will actually rate it below the spell power reduction though. What this does is this reduces the level of all opponent's spells by 1. And you can equip 2 of them, so the opponent's gonna be like losing 2 levels on every single spell. It is very powerful and can do a lot of work. But I would say it's like a little bit less consistent than the power reduction, because you know, the power is always getting reduced. But the opponent might just bring like level 6 spells, and then you're reducing them down to level 4, you know, like woohoo. So proud I could do that. So yeah, that's why it's like a little bit less consistent. That's why I would put it lower, despite it being like also really powerful. It's also like a legendary item, which means that it should be better than the epic item, but realistically, 1-to-1, it's not. Now we have the Soulless Sash. Reduces the morale of creatures. A really solid, great early item. It will, if you get it early, it will prevent you from getting morale down, which is a very big problem in the early phase, and you can avoid it by just getting lucky and getting this one simple artifact. The next item is the Spellbinder's Hat. The Spellbinder's Hat is another very impressive artifact, giving you all tier 5 spells. And tier 5 spells in Olden Era are like all so good, and for many of them, they're good even without like needing a lot of levels on them. So because of that, it's actually a very good, considerable headwear for many situations, and in my opinion is A tier. Next up is these Spells and Bottles. So this is going on your belt, and you're gonna be getting all the tier 4 spells. And what a collection of spells that tier 4 is. You're getting like some of the best buffs in Radiant Armor, you're getting the best summons in the form of Star Children, you're getting the best like sustain in terms of like Rewind Life, so you're not gonna be bleeding anymore. And you're also doing it on a less contested slot, because like the belt slot is like not really that contested at all. So in my opinion, Spells and Bottles is actually even better than the Spellbinder's Hat. It is one hell of a package, it is way more readily available than yeah, to be equipped compared to like trying to fit in the Spellbinders. And it's like such a nice package of spells in these Spells and Bottles. Next up is the Spyglass. You get some scouting range in the early phase if you can get this. And I mean, for some reason I feel like it's like less impactful than the headwear, but I'm just gonna put it next to like the headwear. Scouting. They're both like pretty much the same. Now we have more Pauper's Glory, which is gonna go alongside the Pauper's Glory. We have Swan Boots. So the Swan Boots are, they will eliminate any trade penalty, which sounds pretty good, but honestly on an epic item, it doesn't really like do that much, because for most templates you have like a plan-ish in order to deal with the train penalties already. So you only need it in like specific situations and specific formats. They can be good. I'll put them like low B tier because they can save your game, they can make your game. So it's like, it's alright. Now we have the Sword of Judgment. The Sword of Judgment is just going to be going alongside all the other Angelic Alliance pieces. They just don't really give that much stats, they're not very impressive, unless you can combine it all, of course. Which is pretty hard to do in most of your games. Now we have the Signets. So these two items are going to be giving you luck and or morale. Which is like pretty solid to get just on like a miscellaneous slot, but if you get them both together, you're going to be increasing your XP gain by 50%, which is very much. It's like more than the entire Insight is going to be giving you, I think. I don't remember the exact numbers on Insight. So yeah, these are... Man, I don't remember which one is luck and which one is morale. But I think the morale one is low B tier and the luck one is high C tier. And if you can find them together, then they're really good. If you can find them before the ultra late game though, of course. Ooh, the next item is the most impressive item in the game, the Tactical Guide. This will make it so the opponent cannot reposition anything at all at the beginning of the fight. They're just gonna be like immediately like spawning as is. And, you know, if they're playing shooters, then it's like really hard for them to not be able to like cover their shooters. If they're playing, you know, like an aggressive setup with tactics, so they want to place, you know, like in front of you and immediately kill you, well, they cannot do so anymore. This is probably the most problematic item in the game right now. At least like one of the most problematic items in the game right now. It completely destroys tactics. It's very, very oppressive towards very many setups that are popular right now. It's terrorizing people and it's honestly not okay. So yeah, there we go. It's gonna be S tier. Now we have the minus attack skill on the weapon slot. And it's part of the Puppeteer set, which is actually a pretty good set. And this is minus defense on the offhand, on the shield slot. Both of these items are going to be going together. Reducing the opponent's stats by a percentage in the late game is going to be very, very good. When you upgrade it, it's going to be 15%, so basically like the entire expert offense, expert defense, sub skill, and you can combine them together to have like a very big stat reduction on the opponent. These are very solid A tier items. Now we have the last of the ogre pieces, gonna be going alongside the ogre pieces for the same reasons. The power, despite being the best stat, does not really stand out in the ogre set, because the power starts really carrying and mattering in the later stages of the game when you have already like some spells to cast and when you have like enough knowledge and when you have battle magic. This item is usually going to be only equipped when these things are not online yet, so it's not really as impressive and as meaningful at the stage of the game that you're going to be having this item. Now we have the Two-Face Mask. So the Two-Face Mask was a mystery to me that it even existed, but apparently it's an item on the head slot that lets you cast twice. No, not twice. It lets you cast an extra time. So if you have Thaumaturgy, with this item you can actually cast 3 times a turn. And even warriors can cast 2 times a turn if you get this item. The catch is that it's not available on the map normally. You have to find it in you have to find it in an artifact merchant. And if you do, oh boy, you ended up high rolling. This is probably the most powerful item in the entire game. Yeah, even above Bone Boots. It is insane. So now we have the... whatever this is. I actually don't know what this is. Probably not for 1 hero formats, I would assume. Now we have the Vortex Realm. So this item gives you mana based on based on how much the opponent used mana. It's like a pretty weird way to sustain your mana. I would say that it almost always does nothing. I haven't seen it do anything. It's only good in the set in the fact that it completes the set for duration, which sometimes gives Exodias that I feel like should be removed from the game if they're not already, so yeah, whatever. Now we have the Warlord's Boots. So the Warlord's Boots are an amazing item, and if you're not playing somebody who wants to stack like a bunch of you know, power, then it's gonna be the second best boots. Well, yeah, actually for most setups, it's actually gonna be like even better than the Bone Boots, but that's a legendary item. The bar for, you know, like being good is gonna be higher. So yeah, these boots give just straight up 2 initiative, and that is insane. A very, very powerful item, cannot be understated. Oftentimes it's gonna be like a pretty rough choice between Bone Boots and these ones if you have both of them. Now we have the Warrior set, the Warrior's Belt and the Amulet. I would say that they're going like completely next to the Secret ones, for basically the same reason. Yeah. And then the Wizard set is also gonna be going alongside these. I mean, all of these items are like the same. You get like 2 per point, and then you get 4 for completing the 2 set. And yeah, they're all like pretty nice, cute artifacts at B tier. This is, I think, another Pauper's Glory set. We have the entire thing assembled now, Peppo happy. Then the basic scroll. Well, the basic magic scroll, I would say, is like a low B tier item. The max level scroll should probably be like a low A tier item. In terms of my gameplay, you probably don't see me treating it as such, but they do win many games both for me and my opponents, so I gotta give it at least like that much respect, really. So yeah. Oh, wait a moment. I wanna change the cropping here so we can see the entire thing. Currently failing to do so though. Okay. There we go. So that is the entire tier list of all the items in Olden Era. Oh, this is a pretty big undertaking. I was thinking on where and why I want to place these arties, in case it like looks confusing, because like some item is just like literally better, but it's like on a lower tier. Make sure to, you know, not forget the fact that I'm assuming it's rarity. So, you know, I'm gonna be having like bigger expectations for a legendary item than I would have for like a common item, and so on. So yeah, this is my tier list of all the items in Olden Era. I thank you all for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye!